America is a very large and diverse country. From the mountains to the ocean, we're a country filled with craftsmen, creators, and Congress. I grew up near the Canadian border in Montana. Montana, while beautiful, think Lord of the Rings on steroids, it's also very empty. So Lord of the Rings minus the Fellowship.
Remember when the boys made us watch that movie about the gay guys on the mountain?
Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
Some of my earliest memories were crossing the border into Alberta to visit relatives, watch documentaries on the CBC, and I did not think that this was weird, but my parents would buy stuff, mostly home repair stuff, like 2x4s and toilets, and not in normal amounts, like bulk amounts of 2x4s and toilets. The one story that stands out the most in my mind is my dad and mom worriedly chatting, trying to decide if bringing 4 high water flush toilets and a row of lumber across the border was going to trigger the border guards to flag our car to be searched. Now, my family is not a criminal gang smuggling high-value items over the border. They just wanted those toilets. The toilets with the larger tank and a heavier water drop. They talked about the toilets the whole drive up. And also they were going to get another pair to give to the neighbor. Maybe now, as I'm telling all of you guys this, my parents are a little weird. These faux criminal masterminds then decided instead of getting 2x4s and toilets, they would just get toilets. So picture this, if you will. It's dark driving back because, of course, in the north, the sun sets by 4 p.m. half of the year, and flashlights are flickering into the back of a pickup truck. This very unnerving to a 4-year-old Lacie who was experiencing worry for probably the first time in her life. We did get deeper questioning, and I think it's because my dad was acting so weird. Like, yes, we bought toilets! And so then they shined their flashlights into the back of the truck, probably trying to figure out how many toilets could one family use. And then we were on our merry way. Why? Because Canada is our border bestie. We enjoy their art, their comedy shows, actors, beautiful views, and then they come here to vacation and enjoy our luxury goods. Now, in February 2025, President Taco started what we now refer to as the trade wars. And this tiny country, 1/10 the size of the United States, has banded together to bring the mighty America to its knees financially. Now, what started this magnificent show of force from our northern neighbor? Showcasing his blatant disrespect for personal property, America's president mused about Canada becoming a 51st state. The thing about bullies is, if you give an inch, they're going to take a mile, or several Supreme Court justices and the White House. And instead of ignoring the ramblings of an old, ill man, Canada, they pushed back. Their people access the innate power in freedom of choice, and Canada has exercised that right in every creative way possible. They went to our heart, our wallet, and our goods. The entire Commonwealth of Alberta banned imports of U.S. alcohol. All of it. Gone. Canadian owners did the math, and some goods ordered from their American partners were within the return window. Staff was called in to repackage and ship back millions of dollars of goods, all before these return windows ended. So a wave of returned goods to the manufacturers flew back over the border. And did you know that in the retail world, orders are placed months in advance? They plan in the spring what to stock in the fall, and all of this takes time to manufacture, package, and ship. Well, Canada had a better idea. Stop all the orders. Another shot across the bow of the status quo. Bullying needs to be stood up against. And then Canada did something incredible. They changed their entire culture. They decided as a collective to make America uncool again. Human nature, it's interesting. What's more effective than telling your neighbors what not to buy? Offering someone a better option. Gifting your neighbors a moment of empowerment to see something that they could choose instead. So, the then Prime Minister Justin Trudeau tweeted, "Now is the time to choose products made right here in Canada. Check the labels. Let's do our part. Wherever we can, choose Canadian." As of the time of this writing, it has had over 20 million views. American-owned corporations package and distribute millions of items worldwide. In 2024, agricultural exports to Canada totaled in American dollars $28.3 billion. Canada is by far the top market for US processed food exports. It is dizzying the amount of American-made products that are consumed in Canada. Now, how is a poor Canadian to know what items they can buy in the store that won't help support the mafia shakedown from a very small group of people who snag control of their supplier of cool food and drinks? Informed choice. Someone started printing signs, a red maple leaf with the simple phrase, "Shop Canadian." People were tagging Canadian-made products to purchase in the stores, and they were telling everyone, buy Canadian instead. A welcoming beacon of national pride amidst empty shelves and ignored Coca-Cola bottles. And then, in a brilliant bit of guerrilla anti-marketing a rival marketing executive could only dream of, someone started turning all the American food items around. That bright, cool packaging, it's now been replaced with the ugly calorie counts, an awareness that by purchasing this item, you're betraying national pride. And there's another item with a bright red sign alerting you to choose Canadian instead. That makes a choice very easy to make. The stores did their part.
I'm doing my part.
And let the customers speak for themselves. And maybe tidying would include turning around a few more items instead of making the labels face forward again. And in a world where we continue to feel less and less in control, by deciding what items you can put in your basket, you could take a stand that day. And the ripple effects of this has been incredible. What's more gauche than buying American? Visiting America? Who wants their vacation photos to be tagged in the country where leadership is speed running backwards and people are being disappeared on the streets? Massachusetts Governor Maura Healey said states such as Maine, New York, Rhode Island, and Vermont have seen a drop of Canadian tourism between 20 and 60% already compared with last year. A Canadian friend I spoke with gave an insight that I feel every American and people worldwide can understand. Before the tariff war, they had purchased tickets to a Beyoncé concert. Beyoncé besties trip!
Going out tonight, I'm feeling alright, I'm gonna let it all hang out.
4 tickets, 2-week-long trip all the way through America with stops along the way, New York, Boston, Washington, D.C., all planned months in advance. A girl's trip to remember forever. After the tariff war started, one friend said they'd rather stay behind, sell their ticket, and stay home. They exercised their freedom of choice. Others had family they really wanted to see in America, so they shortened their trip to a 4-day tactical invasion. They announced to everyone in their small town that yes, while they are going, we're going out of our way to buy Canadian in America. And because it's Beyoncé, we're going to support women-owned businesses as best we can. They were not letting perfection get in the way of being an active activist. Now, you remember the toilets? That cozy traveling back and forth across the border, it goes both ways. Bouncing across the border to grab a pair of Levi's, shop at Costco, maybe enjoy some American oysters from our oyster beds that we are currently reviving. That is an episode that's coming soon. This mass avoiding of America, though, it's been rough on Maine's economy. Janet Mills, governor of Maine, literally asked Canadians to come back. And my Canadian friends, the topic of conversation that we had while waiting for Queen Beyoncé to grace us with her light, it turned to Maine and the Canada situation. Her response? A clear-eyed, practical take on the situation. The governor, she should spend time talking to the guy who started it all instead of us. A single abbreviated girls' trip might not seem like a lot, but I want you to consider a small drop can become a rainstorm if everyone decides as a collective to choose Canada instead. We're talking about the loss of billions and billions of dollars already. That is the incredible financial power of an entire nation's culture deciding to push back against bullies. And that, to me, ladies and gentlemen, is courage. This has been Courage, Stories of Everyday Hope. My name is Lacie Madison. I'm your host, and I'm going out of my way to shop Canadian this week. This has been a DocuLite production. Please like, subscribe, share everywhere. It makes a huge difference. And tell us, what part of this episode did you enjoy? Thank you so much and have a great rest of your day. Bye-bye.